Yes, of course. Especially after that, as I said, that defeat against Chelsea, to have two difficult games against Hoffenheim and Everton, two very strong sides. It's always good to come back from that, and we're very happy with it. We know these 2 months, especially December and January, are very busy months, where you need all the players, where you need to be focused, where you need to be fit. And that's what we'll try to do. That's what we'll try to make, to get as many wins as we can to recover that first position on the league and try and go as far as we can on the other competitions.
And lastly, what was that weather like to play in? I can't remember cold or rain, even in Manchester.
Wow, it was terrible. It was so cold, so cold.
Very cold is the bottom line there from Gabriel Jesus and Bernardo Silva. But Manchester City 3-1 winners over Everton. Seamus Coleman taken off after an hour.
Yeah, I saw it was Walcott come on for him, wasn't it? So I assume it was just a tactical reshuffle. I was between the football and a few things. So, but
what things then?
I was, Saturday.
Few messages.
I'm coming off the back of a week off, so I was watching a bit of racing.
Never
Christmas
take time
is getting
off
close.
then.
So I was. But City looked to be well in control, and then I sort of went outside for a while. I came back and it was 2-1, and there was a bit of suspense, but they just killed it off pretty quickly then.
Kevin Caban is with us as well, live from Manchester. Coleman, tactical change to bring Walcott on, though they did move one of the centre backs over to right back, which seemed a strange decision, and also. Coleman as an attacking fullback is not the type of player you would think you would take off. He got a lot of stick after the game on Monday night against Watford when he scored the own goal and then got caught out for the header towards the end. Like, Everton supporters, I don't know, just seem a little bit fed up with him or something.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit like that. I've not. You and I have both been to Goodison lately, and you don't get that sense of ill feeling towards Coleman from the terraces. Well, certainly I've not felt that anyway when I've been to watch them recently. You mentioned the change there. They got to three at the back, wing backs of Luca Dean and Coleman. But it is surprising that he'd actually sacrificed Seamus Coleman to go to a back four. Maybe there is a little bit of ill feeling towards him from the management staff as well as the supporters. I don't feel as though he was at fault for either of the goals of the night. I don't feel as though he could have stopped any of them. Perhaps you think he could have gone up against Decore and jumped into him and stopped him jumping, but Decore had a run on him. He couldn't do anything about it. The own goal, he just can't do anything about that anyway. So I don't feel he was at fault for either goal.
You have been very positive about Everton over the past few weeks. They've had a really strange run of fixtures that sort of came to an end today, where they played all the big teams away from home and have had a good run at home. But it's only one win from the last 6, and they haven't got too many. You all right there? You've literally flipped upside down. No, that's fine. He's still with us.
No, sorry about
We're live on all our social channels as well. You're still with us, Kev.
Yeah.
But it is just one win from 6. So what's happening with Everton? Is this just the inconsistency you're going to see from them this season when a lot of new players arrive at the club?
I think it's going to be that way. I think we've seen it over the last couple of seasons, haven't we? There have been inconsistencies there with them, and that's largely down to the factors of the money that's been spent on the club. It will take a little bit of time. I'm still not convinced that Marco Silva is going to be the answer long term. I don't know. He doesn't convince me with how he sets his side up defensively. And set pieces, Everton looks so vulnerable whenever a ball's gone in from a set piece against them. That's the way that I would see it against the Marco Silva side. So I feel as though that needs to be worked on. But I think over the next few years, I think Everton are going to get stronger and stronger. And I think we will see an Everton side in the next, not necessarily the next 2 or 3, but maybe the next 5 or 10 years competing in the top 4. That's the way that I would see Everton going forward, yeah. Quite a commitment there. In the next 5 or 10 years, competing for the top 4. Well, I'm not being funny. Sorry, Dan, they're a mile off at the moment, aren't they? They look at the spending in comparison to the rest of the clubs over the last 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is. They're way behind. So it's going to take 10 years before they seriously can be a force within the Premier League, top 4-wise. Yeah, I think I wouldn't disagree, really. I mean, unless you get a Man City scale takeover, But I mean, Everton actually have spent a hell of a lot of money, and I mean, what we've seen this year is we have a competitive Premier League at the upper end, but there was significant tweaks last summer, I think, in terms of the top 6 are now getting a bigger share of the overseas TV deal and rights, which is just asserting the position of those clubs. So really, I mean, we look back at the Leicester thing now, like this weird thing that somehow happened. It's not just Everton. Any team that's outside the top 6, look, which one can finish in the top 4 in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years? Like, you're talking about someone needing to have an astonishing season. We're watching Wolves here, actually, who probably do have the backing. And you suspect they have the ability to push up, but even now, the next step for Wolves will require probably like
double or treble the spending of what they've done before to get to this point. And Everton, they seem to be going in the right direction. But I mean, I don't know what the story is with the ground as well, or what the picture might be there. That obviously there's certain earning potential the club's not going to have within its current structure. Yeah,
they're set up today, Kev, going with the 3 at the back. He hasn't made a change really at all in the previous 8 or 9 games. Was very much set on his 4-2-3-1. Idrissa Gana Gueye didn't play today, went with the 3 centre halves. Is that understandable from Silva's point of view when you're going up against the attacking force of City away from home? Or having done quite well over the last couple of months with that system, would you prefer them to stick with it?
Well, I quite like it when a manager's thinking a little bit about how he's going to set up a side against the opposition, rather than just say... I was alongside Martin Keown this morning, and Martin Keown saying to me, look, you just got to concentrate on yourself. It's about what you do rather than what opposition do. Well, in fairness, that's what's cost Arsenal over the last 10 years, because all they've done is concentrated on themselves and not necessarily tried to stop opposition scoring against them and concentrated what they're going to do against them. At least Marco Silva's thinking about how he's going to get the best out of his side. Idrissa Gueye was injured, so that was maybe forced upon him a little bit. So he decided today to try to... I think by doing it, what he's tried to do is tried to basically say to the 3 centre-halves, you just concentrate on what we're going to do defensively against the front 3 attacking players, because of the runs that they make. It's all out-to-in runs that they make. Both Sané and Sterling, or whoever it's going to be that's playing in the wide areas, they make runs in towards where the outside centre-halves are going to be. So I'm sure that was in Marco Silva's thinking, that he could maybe affect the game like that, and he could actually try to get the wing-backs pushed forward, because he's got 2 good attacking wing-backs in that respect, that he could actually go and have find a path into the game. But they did struggle at times, certainly with the ball. They didn't necessarily hurt City on a lot, but I thought today there was a number of positives to be taken from it. Yeah, I do. From what I saw of it, I didn't see an awful lot of the game, but what I saw of it.
Gerard Deulofeu came into the Watford side today, and he's given them the lead against Cardiff with a 16th minute goal. Wolves still 1-0 up against Bournemouth. Let's see what's happening at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Leicester. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 0, Leicester City 0. There was an early scare for Leicester's England defender Harry Maguire. He went down holding his right knee in the first minute. Of course, he's been out since last month with that knee, but he's back up and running now. And it's a big day for Vincenti Guita, making his Premier League debut between the sticks for Palace, with regular keeper Wayne Hennessy injured. But little to report in the awful conditions as elsewhere around the country. Crystal Palace 0, Leicester City 0.
What country though, Mike? What country? Just terrible conditions in all countries in this part of the world.
Yes, we've had a bit of rain. I mean, it's hardly that bad.
The storm hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
It's a bit windy outside. I saw someone have an umbrella malfunction earlier on the street.
The umbrella, was it funny or tragic?
Well, then they took out their phone and started to record it, so they obviously weren't that hurt.
Here.
So the umbrella went into their face, and then it blew off down the street. And I was like, "Will you go out and
go after the umbrella or take a bloody video?"
It was blowing in front of oncoming traffic, and I just thought, would you not go out to the road and retrieve it rather than taking a photo of it? And
that's such a shocking indictment of modern life.
Yeah, and
what age was this person?
Early 20s, I'd say.
Oh,
yeah,
the worst.
Yeah. It's just probably Shane actually recording a story of it. But
I hope he didn't have that jacket on at the
time. Shane's not here to defend himself.
No, well,
but
you see it as well when like somebody's on the street like clearly needing help. Like people are now more inclined to either like walk by, take a video of the person, than actually offer help. And your umbrella's rolling down the street, and you're like, God, this would be a good time to watch my umbrella fade away from me and take a video of it. It's
causing havoc.
Unbelievable.
Was the umbrella run over then by the oncoming car? Or how did this play out at the end?
It was last seen. I think it got a bit of a clip off a car and then it came loose.
A lot of damage.
Yeah,
I
was in traffic at the time, very, very annoyed that this was about to happen to me, but someone else got the brunt of it.
Of course, Nathan,
on a scale of...
Sorry, Johnny. You'd remember probably you being from the west of Ireland.
Oh, well.
Going to these...
I'd remember poverty, Johnny, you're right.
Going to these Gaelic games, Connacht Championship back in the heyday, and get down the umbrella. There's just an umbrella in front of you, like just some old lad puts up an umbrella.
The graveyard end in the Hyde.
You literally cannot see a thing. Like, I'm like, John, like, hang on a sec, I want to watch the game here. Like,
I've never been to Hyde Park where it hasn't been miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
so on a scale of overrated things, would you have umbrellas above or below James McClean?
Is James McClean even rated anymore?
Like, bloody hell, Johnny.
Is he? Is James McClean going to get his place under McCarthy?
I would imagine. If he's not, he's the 12th man.
I was talking to someone about this the other day. I still think he probably does, yeah. I'd be... surprised. Well, Kevin knows more about what Mick McCarthy might want from his left-sided player, you know. But
does he want someone, Kev, who'll just put the head down and bomb aimlessly up and down the wing
and get over 100 caps?
Well, don't know. It's hard to find that type of lad, I tell you. Honest to God.
Coleman shouldn't be guaranteed his place, like, at
Why?
the moment, because Matt Doherty's possibly playing better.
But they're
than
not playing in the same position.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what Mick's going to play. Like, is he going to play 4 at the back? Probably.
Do you not just play the two of them? Do you not play, as Stephen Kelly was suggesting, I think you play Coleman at right back. He's playing at the highest level of any player in the Premier League. I know Matt Doherty's at a similar level. He's still, up until the last week, I've seen loads of Everton. I thought Coleman was actually getting close to his best. Definitely when he has the ball.
Yeah,
definitely when they're on the front.
I think he 100%.
I think he's regressing.
I think he 100% plays Coleman. I think there's absolutely no doubt in my mind about it. That
Well, do you know, seriously, it's nonsense, absolute nonsense to suggest that Seamus Coleman is not, or is going to be struggled to get a game in that side. Absolutely no chance. Will he ever be left out? Because he's too good to be left out.
He will at some stage, Kev. Like, eventually he's going to, as a right back, he's going to get too old. Like.
Well, exactly. Well, when he gets too old, that's the thing. But not at the moment. And I think there is a way to get them both into the side. Matt Doherty has played at left back, so why not try him there? Why not try him if we are going to play a different type of system, if we are going to play 4 at the back, whatever. But I think in general, there are two best players at the moment. I think certainly Matt Doherty is probably our best player at the moment. So he simply has to start.
I'd say if you compare the attacking output of Doherty versus Coleman this season,
but Doherty's not playing as a right back.
He's playing as a right wing back in a team that controls possession in a lot of games that it plays. So you have to think about what the Irish match situation is going to be.
Think about this from Seamus Coleman's point of view and Matt Doherty's. Matt Doherty gets the ball, he looks inside, he gives it to João Moutinho, one of the most technically gifted players in the Premier League. Seamus Coleman gets the ball and Theo Walcott's in front of him.
Yeah, and Coleman, I think Coleman has struggled to show his attacking side with Ireland at times over the years as well, for the reason that we don't necessarily have the opportunities to control the ball for a period of time to get him to bomb forward. Now, you can think of a couple of instances. You think of the goal against Sweden in the Euros, where actually Ireland played quite well in that game. He was able to get a bit high up the pitch, and there's other times where Coleman is he's just been pegged back for the entire game.
I think the other aspect, I think that's a bit harsh what you're saying there about Walcott, maybe Coleman trying to find him. But the one thing that I will say about that relationship down the right-hand side, it doesn't complement each other whatsoever. Yeah. Walcott's a runner. Walcott needs to run without the ball. And in fairness, to get the best out of Seamus Coleman, he's a better running without the ball, little 1-2s around the penalty area. So you've got two of the similar type of players that play down the right-hand side for Everton. That is where they become a little unbalanced in my mind. I think they need a more intricate player. They need a player that's going to be able to suit Seamus Coleman's type of game. That's why I think something is going to give in relation to Everton further down the line, in relation to Walcott or Coleman, because their games don't suit each other at all.
From Matt Doherty's point of view, so he scored 3 goals in the Premier League. He's in the form of his life. He's at a great age. He's 26. He's at a club that have quite a bit of money. What do you do in a contractual sense at this stage, Kevin? Like, do you go into the manager, storm in there and say, I want a new contract, I want 70 or 80 grand a week, or I'm leaving this club? Or do you just keep your head down and presume that the club will recognise your value?
Yeah, it's a great point on it. What's he going to do? I think he's quite settled. He's quite happy with the coaching side of it. I think he's settled in the team. He's playing every week. He's played every week for the last couple of seasons. So I think that's got to be overall. When maybe if you look back at my own career, sometimes you think, yeah, of course, everybody wants to get more money. You want to be recognised for the job that you're doing, but ultimately it comes down to where you're happiest and where you're settled. And he is that. He knows full well, though, off the back of that there's probably players on 50 grand a week plus. Is he on that type of money? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I'm not privy to what he is, but he knows full well there's lads at Wolves now that's on 50, 60, 70 grand a week there. So he probably does deserve parity with a lot of his teammates. So there will be an element of that, but I think he's probably better off, in my mind, just taking a step back sometimes, taking the advice of your family, agent, whoever it is that's around him, and go, I'm better here. Let's agree a contract here. Let's get me sorted, and then I can actually move forward with the rest of my career here. That's the way that I would see it from his point of view now.
As far as I know, and you'd be weird this time, I think Bows are entitled to 10% of...
Bows are entitled to 10%. I think Bows are going to agitate for a move if possible. Because there'll be sort of Bohemians influences going, no, Doherty needs to go in there now and demand a transfer
like
straight away.
Unsettled Doherty.
Unsettled. All these stories will start to come out.
But he's Pat Fellon said during the week, he's potentially going to be our most expensive expensive player ever to be sold.
But it's highly unlikely that he'll leave.
I wouldn't have thought.
Do you lads know? Sorry, do you lads know how long he's got left on his current contract?
That's not off the top of the head. I think he's. It's not that long ago since he signed a new deal of some kind, but I'm not entirely sure, Kev. But I mean, I think the thing is, though, as you would know, though, Kev, like I suppose in some ways it's. I think Matt Doherty's a very confident fella, and he has a certain amount of belief. Like maybe some lads would have the mentality, well, this could be his purple patch. This is his earnings. This is his time to get into the
100%.
bracket. Once you get into that bracket, you almost never leave it. Yeah. You know, once you get that contract. And
he signed a 4-year deal last year.
4-year deal last year. So there you go. So it's not necessarily up. Now I'd imagine he's on a reasonable money, but he's doing it in the Premier League.
I'd say he loves playing for Wolves as well. That side, like who wouldn't love playing?
Well, you
want
to do what Kevin Doyle did and get your big money deal off Wolves, and if it all goes horribly wrong, you're set up for life off this.
But it's true. I mean, I'm like, it is that.
People used to criticise Kevin Doyle. What was he meant to do?
You get that one contract, and whatever level, and you even know lads who've gone over from the League of Ireland on a different scale, who've gone onto a contract in England that they may not get at their next club. So you sit on that contract, and it's very hard to criticise them for doing it because this is their life. You know. Okay, now Matt's obviously going to be earning very good money, you would think, for the next 8 to 9 years, and he's probably going to be okay. But it's easy for us to sit here and say that. When it's potentially, you know, it can all turn very quickly. So his next contract could be his biggest one ever. So you sort of can't blame him for playing the game a small bit, because there's going to be lads in the dressing room as particularly the profile that Wolves sign, and he's a massively important player in that team.
Well, also, I guess when you're looking at it from his point of view, you look at what's happened to players around you who you've been with at Wolves over the last 4 or 5 years, and as good as Matt Doherty's been, Wolves are probably one of those teams who are thinking, can we push into the Champions League over the next 5 or 10 years? They have the money, they have the backing, they have the connections, and who knows who George Mendes has waiting in the wings, what Portuguese young international is coming through who plays right wing back, who could land in that club next season, and Matt Doherty finds himself on the bench and not getting 50, 60 grand a week.
No, it's true. I mean, he survived that. I mean, was it Barry Douglas who played left back last year, and he basically got moved on and replaced and upgraded. And there was a feeling last summer, you know, we were wondering here, or people were just in general chats, just assuming, maybe because of this negative view of Irish players in our own head, sort of doing them down, thinking, well, I presume Doherty's going to be under pressure now that they've gone up. In fact, he's responded to it, but he probably has to... this is an important time in his career, so he probably has to be selfish to some degree in terms of what he does.
Let's see what's going on in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, where Wolves are still 1-0 up against Bournemouth. There are 36 minutes gone in that. Let's go to Wembley, where Spurs are taking on Burnley. Andrew Cheal.
Spurs 0, Burnley 0 it remains, and most of the possession is still with the home side. They have had one very good chance. Eric Lamela with a beautifully chipped pass into the path of Lucas Moura, took it over his shoulder with a well-controlled right foot volley, only just wide of the post, with Joe Hart looking as if he was beaten. Burnley still looking content to defend deep in numbers and with great patience. It's Spurs 0, Burnley 0.
Dan, you're just pointing out that Burnley playing 5 at the back this afternoon. First time I think we've really seen it, Kev. They've gone with me, Tarkowski and Long.
Yeah, exactly. Containing. It's about containing, isn't it, for them? That's the thing. Tottenham, couple of openings, I suppose, throughout, but it's been largely contained. There's not been no real pressure on Burnley's defence really throughout. So they've caused 1 or 2 problems. So it's been it's more about maybe sitting in, try to get this first half through, and then maybe late on when it gets to about 70 minutes, see if Dijk changes it around.
Vicarage Road next, Watford against Cardiff. Nigel Bidmead.
Watford 1, Cardiff 0, the home side leading by Deulofeu's goal on 16. Lovely individual effort, evading 2 tackles inside the area before side-footing past the goalkeeper. We haven't seen too much of Cardiff City. They've only had 32% of the possession, but Patterson, their centre-forward, has just headed a flicked-on long throw wide of the goal. It would have been an easy save for Ben Foster, but it does count as a chance. Few and far between, though they are, for Cardiff City. Watford in control. They lead 1-0.
Next up it is Huddersfield against Newcastle. Joe Townend.
It remains Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 0. Both sides have had one good chance. Phil Billing with a 40-yard free kick that was narrowly tipped over the bar by Martin Dubravka. Would have been a fantastic goal if it had managed to go in. Shortly after that, Newcastle took a short free kick on the halfway line. It was a beautiful cross to the back post from Ki Sung-yun, and only fantastic keeping from Jonas Lossell meant that Fabian Schär's effort was smothered from close range and tipped away, but it remains in real difficult conditions. Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 0.
And to Selhurst Park, where it's Palace against Leicester. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 0, Leicester City 0. Little to raise the heartbeat here so far, I think it's fair to say. The best moment for Palace coming when winger Luka Milivojevic found Andre Ayew with a lovely crossfield ball, but Ayew couldn't get his cross in. Ayew deputising up front today for the suspended Wilfried Zaha. Leicester have had the ball in the back of the net, but Jamie Vardy was judged to have barged debutant keeper Vicente Guita in the process by referee Michael Oliver. Crystal Palace 0, Leicester City 0.
All right, so the only goals so far are at Vicarage Road, where Watford are 1-0 up against Cardiff, and at Molineux, where Wolves still lead Bournemouth by 1-0. City 3-1 winners against Everton earlier. The late game is Fulham against West Ham. In the Championship, Alan Brown has just scored a penalty to give Preston a 1-0 lead against Millwall. But the big news out of Preston this week is that Johnny Ward ran into Shawnee Maguire.
I did. I met him at the airport. He was coming home on... What day was that? I went to the Liverpool game on Tuesday.
You went to the Liverpool game on Tuesday?
Yeah.
In Vienna for the weekend. Then.
Wow.
I was in Vienna. I was in the World War II part of the military tour in the Museum of Austrian Military in Vienna. And I'd been kind of... I'd asked actually our erstwhile friend on Skype there to see if he could get tickets. He failed. But somebody else came up trumps and ended up going to the Liverpool game, and it was great, to be honest, because you heard so much about these great European nights, but it's a special place in a night like that. But I met
I wouldn't feel guilty about it, Kev, because if anybody knows about letting people down for tickets, it's Johnny.
This is true.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I did.
Exactly.
I met Sean Maguire. What an absolute gent he is, by the way, as well. Met him on the way back, and I was just asking about how his injuries, and he said things are coming along very well. And,
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny, can I ask how you introduce yourself to Sean Maguire?
Well, you've kind of asked now, haven't you?
Well, I said, can I ask?
We were at a table together before at some function, so he kind of remembered me without knowing my name. But I was like, I'm not holding a grudge against you for that. The fact
but how did you introduce yourself to him last week? What did you say you do?
Oh no, I'd say he knows him. I'd say he knows the game, because he would have done. Did he do stuff with our podcast before?
What did you say?
I just said, "How are you, Sean?"
Okay.
Or Shawnee, or whatever.
And what did he say?
He just said, "Well, how's it going, lad?"
And did you say... What did you say then?
I didn't.
At any stage did you tell him who you were?
No, I think he remembers me because I've met him a few times. I met him at.
But you said he didn't know your name. So was it an awkward conversation?
So you know people. Sometimes you'll meet them, you don't know their name.
That awkward conversation where you have to pretend.
I think Shawnee had any idea this is going to go out on radio at some stage. This discussion.
But he said Graham Burke is obviously Graham Burke. Somebody said he's absolutely flying in training. It's just obviously difficult for him to get into the team. But he said in terms of his training form, he's flying. But on the positive side, is Sean Maguire doesn't sound like he's far from making a recovery. He was quite positive.
And did he say anything about the training methods of Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane?
No, we didn't get to that. To be fair, but I wouldn't. Hearsay is a terrible thing. But it'd be great to see him back, though. I mean, he was also just saying how utterly frustrating it was, that injury in the Northern Ireland game, and like you could just tell how much it was so frustrating for him.
Well, it must be utterly frustrating as well, because there has to be at this stage this huge worry that when he comes back, that there's going to be yet another reoccurrence.
It's four times in whatever 12, 13 months. It's worrying, and I'd imagine, and not just because he was talking to Johnny, but every second person who meets him is asking about the injury, and he's been in that mode, it seems, for the last year. I remember doing a piece for him. God, what time did the Preston Wolves game around that time? And again, it was that constant sense of, I'm coming back, I'm back to my best. And he's been through this cycle a couple of times now. So there's just a danger, because you talk about someone being in the purple patch in their career. Like he was in that zone. And in terms of like the rest of his football career, it's a big sort of 18-month, sort of 2 year, 3 years from now to even...
He could be the man.
Even to graduate above Preston, with all due respect, because they're a club that eventually has to sell promising players. And he looked like he could be someone that could go into that bracket.
He was the highest paid player when he got his last contract, I think.
Yeah, now he's got a challenge. He's got a challenge to get back to where he was before.
Goal at Selhurst Park, Palace against Leicester. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0. Luka Milivojevic with a sweetly struck effort from the edge of the box. Having been urged by the fans to shoot, he did so, and the ball whistled past Kasper Schmeichel in the Leicester goal. Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0.
Quick break and we're going to talk about Liverpool Man United.
Off the ball on Newstalk. Bobby's Late Breakfast.
This Sunday I'll talk to the writer of a new book all about the talented and troubled world of guitarist Rory Gallagher. Michael Lester will stop by to talk about life after the Sunday game. We'll have alternatives to turkey and Food Glorious Food, and the Christmas classic Elf is in the cultural toolbox.
Bobby's Late Breakfast.
Join me this Sunday morning from 9 and let me ease you into your Sunday.
On News Talk.
Help keep the winter out and the warmth in with Dimplex and Morphy Richards at Power City. View the range of portable heaters, electric blankets, slow cookers and soup makers online at powercity.ie or call in-store today.
Families in countries like South Sudan and Yemen are facing starvation. Please give what you can. Visit Trócaire.org or call 1850 408 408. Trócaire, until love conquers fear.
Hi, I'm David Collins, SuperValue store owner. All things considered, SuperValue is the only place you need to shop, with offers like SuperValue Fresh Irish Lamb Leg, save 33%. Buy any 6 bottles of wine and save €10. And don't forget to order your half-price fresh Irish turkey in-store this week. All things considered, it's SuperValue. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
As she removed the wrapping and the elegant gift box revealed itself, I knew she still had no idea what was inside. Hold on, I said. Before you open it, shouldn't you be thinking of your 3 wishes? Her blue eyes twinkled like the sunlight on Loch Lean. The Europe Hotel and Resort, she said in a whisper, turning the voucher over in her fingers. And, I said, you don't have to bring me. You and the girls are always talking about Espa at the Europe. Give a voucher for the Europe Hotel and Resort Killarney. A stay with us stays with you forever. Visit theeurope.com.
Designed to stand out, the new Lexus NX demands attention at every turn. Our midsize SUV is a self-charging hybrid featuring satellite navigation with connected services and Lexus safety system as standard, so you're always ready for the future. And now you can choose from a range of flexible payment options or avail of our hybrid trade-up allowance worth €2,000. Experience the luxurious new NX at your Lexus retailer. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Mattresses-delivered.ie. Nationwide delivery within 48 hours for free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Lowest prices guaranteed. Don't forget the hyphen. T's and C's apply.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. In this week's Sunday Independent, there's everything you need to get ready. We've a live Christmas food special, your 2-week festive TV guide, and the stars come out for Barry Egan's Christmas Bash. Plus they're back, Letters I Wish I'd Sent at Christmas, and €10 off €45 for every reader at Tesco. The Sunday Independent, the complete Christmas. T's and C's apply.
We all need to mind our mental health. YourMentalHealth.ie is a space to find information on mental health, how to care for it, and where to find supports and services, for you or for people you know. And because it's online, you can visit anytime. YourMentalHealth.ie. Information, support, services from the HSE.
At Power City, we've got the latest Samsung technology, from the Galaxy Tab A to the stylish new Galaxy Watch, and the feature-packed A7 SIM-free mobile phone. For more information, go online to powercity.ie or call in-store today.
It's Christmas, so at Carphone Warehouse we're putting our customers first with tasty prepaid deals, like the Samsung J3 or Huawei Y6 from $69.99 when you switch to prepay on Vodafone, Ireland's #1 network. But only with Carphone Warehouse, the home of the networks. Plus you get 1 month's free iKids for total parental online control. And you won't find offers like these anywhere else. Any network, any phone, any plan. Only Carphone Warehouse.
The great Apple Green price drop is on. We've dropped our Feel Good fuel by 5 cents at Apple Green. All day, all night. The great 5 cent price drop. It's not just for Christmas.
Was that too much, lads?
Sounds great.
I'm exhausted. See what I did there?
The great Apple Green 5 cent price drop. Feel Good by Apple Green. Low fuel prices, always. See applegreen.ie for more details.
You can watch Liverpool versus Man United on Now TV for just €10. So what's stopping you? Putting up more Christmas decorations? Your house already looks like Santa's grotto. A family party? Your Aunt Mary has seen you 4 times this week already. It's a huge rivalry. Don't let anything get in your way. To treat yourself to a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass and watch the games that matter to you for just €10, search Now TV Football today. Content streamed via internet, full terms at nowtv.com.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
The air for Lukaku's forced to drift out to the right-hand side. Couple of little step overs. Cross in there towards Jesse Lingard! And the substitute puts Manchester United in front.
Ball laid up for Salah. Just tries to throw off Martina, and he does. He's passed another one. Chips it to the corner. And the deadlock is broken with another piece of individual brilliance by Mo Salah.
Rojo has it now. Curls into the penalty area. Missed in the air. Oh, a chance for Rashford! Rashford equalises! What an end to this first half!
There wasn't too many players there. Van Dijk with the volley. He scoops it high up into the arrow. Comes off the top of the crossbar. Origi has won it! Unbelievable! Liverpool have won the derby in the most farcical and dramatic of circumstances. You've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, big game tomorrow. We're back at Anfield for Liverpool against Manchester United. Not sure it'll be quite as dramatic an ending.
That must have been so. Do you know what's so mad though about like how football can change? Like Liverpool drawing that game 1-1. A lot of people are going to say basically write them off in terms of the title. And like what? A week later they're top. And that goal, like you literally couldn't script a goal as ridiculous as that goal was. It had just so many aspects of complete madness. Notwithstanding the fact that it was 5 minutes into injury time, it sounded like you enjoyed it.
Well, listen, it was a dramatic moment of a game, so I had to reflect that in my commentary. Not right, Kev?
Yeah, I know.
You were quiet, weren't you? It was weird.
You'd almost think I was sat beside a Liverpool fan, wouldn't you? That was the thing.
Nearly. What about Gilesy? My first time ever doing anything with him the other night. Would you be a Liverpool fan there, Johnny, in the middle of it? What a man.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Wow. 2 Johnnies. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Johnnies. Yeah. 2 Johnnies.
So he called you out.
What?
He called you out.
He did, but he did it in a very playful way. So it was like
I was almost lost there. I think it's fine.
But yeah, it's I'd say like if you've been to Liverpool games lately, between the Napoli game was incredible, really, like to the atmosphere, the save at the end by Alisson. I did ask Johnny Giles actually, should Van Dijk have gotten sent off? And typically enough of a man from, who played in that Leeds side, he said, no. But he should have.
He wasn't asked. Then Johnny told him about his night out and a couple of lads he met, a fella from Bermuda. And John Giles politely listened to all these stories and went along with it. So.
Who was that lad last week? Don't get that.
But in fairness, it's a special place to watch football at the moment.
It certainly is. Except when they play Man United generally. But tomorrow's going to be good, I'm fine.
Well, you have to build it up. Like contractually, you probably have to build this game up. But it's
still compelling though. Like it's as bad as Man United are, it's still a compelling story when they play.
Ooh, I don't know.
Last year's
It's
games.
weird. Usually, games now in the Premier League between the top 6 are such a high standard. Even if it's 0-0, at least quality-wise, there's a really good pace to it, and technically, it's very good. But United are so poor, and it's so slow and so dull. It's just crap to watch. It's not interesting in any way. But
it's hard to look forward to a game to really like.
The Arsenal game wasn't bad. Like it's when they play well, they're still okay. But they've so many areas of concern that basically you're looking at the game tomorrow. And I made this point like from the get go. I don't think Firmino is playing that well at the moment. And I thought from 5 minutes into the game he's struggling here. And the fans gradually were starting to say they got to take off Bobby, as they call him. And Manny had a bad game. So and like Salah's probably still not quite at his best. Yet you still can't really see them not beating Man United.
Kev, you've got company.
Yeah, no, he's ready to play now. I think that's what it is.
Did you call the dog Maguire after Shawnee or after Sam?
Oh, I think it's after Sam. Yeah.
I think is it not after your mate that runs that boozer in Manchester? No, the station.
Gallagher. That's Gallagher. Called him Gallagher.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of the Maguires from Shameless, actually.
How's life resembles it at times.
In the jockey.
Come on now.
Yeah, the station's a bit better than the jockey, in fairness.
Are you looking forward to tomorrow's game, Kev? Do you think there's any possibility of being a classic?
No, I don't think it'll be a classic. I think we're probably looking at pretty much what you said there. I think it'll be a good watch. It'll be one of those games where it's not necessarily going to be too exciting. There's not going to be too much goal-mouth action in there. But I think it's going to be an exciting watch. I do think it's going to be a compelling watch more than anything else. That's the way that I would see it tomorrow.
It's a compelling watch right now, isn't it? What's the dog going to do next?
We had that geezer, the Korean expert, and the kids coming in the background. But now it's like just normal to have your
dog.
It's all right.
The dog is going to have its own agent soon, to be fair.
Come over here.
Kev could spread some of the media work.
Yeah, the dog.
You know what?
The dog is going to have branding on it.
That's what he wants. He wants me headphones.
Oh, do you know what you could do, Kev, for the next major tournament? You could turn it into a Paul the Octopus type scenario. where Maguire goes down one way or the other, and you could sell that to some company.
You could do it weekly. Yeah.
We should get you on and do the predictions of the dog.
Yeah, that could.
Do you think?
So if you let the dog go, if it goes left, United are going to win. If it goes right, Liverpool are going to win.
Right, we say, what do you think, Maguire? Here, go left or right for Man United? I don't know which way I'm on the screen there. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Maguire?
Little does he know the national hero he's just become.
He's going United. I think he's going United by the looks of it.
But how long does Mourinho last? It's just it's getting to the.
That's done, isn't it?
It's pantomime at this stage. Like he hasn't. It's not even veiled his criticism of his own players now after games, particularly Pogba. And it's just like, how is this still going on?
I'm sure they've probably identified their ideal world replacement, and maybe there's just a delay is related to that in some way, that they're happy to. They might even see out the season. I didn't think he'd see out the season. Maybe he will. You know, maybe it might somehow.
There's massive talk, isn't there? There's still a talk of Real Madrid, isn't there? That Real Madrid's around the corner, that potentially he's going to take that job. But I'm with you, lad. I think he's gone. I just totally think it's gone.
He was saying that the team wasn't in his image. It was far from being in his image.
What is his image now, though?
Well, that's the thing. Maybe it is exactly in his image.
And the game is kind of slightly passed him by. Like,
what is the identity of that team now? I think was it Jonathan Liu during the week did a piece about that it's almost the team now like resembles 4 different previous managers and eras. They're not one or they don't sort of resemble any one style from any one manager. They're sort of a hodgepodge of players and characters thrown together. It's but you never know. Like this particular game is one where they could still do enough to frustrate Liverpool.
Well, it's exactly what they've done.
They have done it in the past,
4 or 5 years.
You know, so
when you go to a game live as well, you obviously see things you don't see on TV. It made me understand for the first time how good James Milner is as a player on Tuesday
in what way?
Night. Just his positional sense, the tackles he makes, and that stuff that they say you don't notice. I thought he was absolutely outstanding, and just gets on with the job. And it was interesting that they went with pretty much a midfielder of kind of brawn. Last week was just like, we trust this midfield just to break up play and basically give it to the top 3. 2 of whom weren't really functioning, and they still managed to win. But he's a top player. I have to say.
Did you play against Milner, Kev?
Sorry, I'm just losing you there.
What the hell is that?
Just put the dog on.
Yeah, no, do you know, I played in the game when Milner became the youngest Premier League scorer up at Sunderland. I played in that game. So I need to get my headphones back in, but they've been pulled out. But no, I've played against Milner. I have. And it's, he's quality. He's quality. I played against him many times.
Do you realise you're still live on national radio, Kev?
Here, I tell you.
Pretty much all of this Saturday show every week has become a realisation at 6 o'clock. Did that actually go out?
Yeah,
was that broadcast?
Yeah. Maguire has won
He's
this
gone.
battle.
He's literally gone.
Maguire has had enough.
Wow.
Maguire is tuned out.
Let's get the half times from around the grounds in the Premier League. Starting at Wembley, Spurs against Burnley with Andrew Cheal.
Tottenham 0, Burnley 0. Spurs dominating possession. Burnley content to defend patiently and with discipline. Spurs have had 3 chances. Moura taking the ball brilliantly over his shoulder but volleying just wide. Lamella found Joe Hart too big a roadblock and he couldn't beat the bypass the Burnley keeper. Danny Rose's curler simply didn't curl. Burnley have had 1 half chance. Barnes heading over. They will be the much the happier team at half time with the scoreline. Spurs 0, Burnley 0.
To Vicarage Road, where it is Watford against Cardiff and Nigel Bidmead.
Watford 1, Cardiff 0. The goal coming in the 16th minute. Gerard Deulofeu, the scorer, jinked his way past 2 players in the box before side-footing past the goalkeeper. Neil Etheridge in the Cardiff goal has made 2 really good saves late on, both to deny Pereira, 1 from open play and 1 from a free kick. For Cardiff, their only chance really came on 38 when Junior Hoylett stood up across from the right and Callum Patterson, right in front of goal, mistimed his header. Watford 1, Cardiff 0.
So that would move Watford up to 9th if it stays like that. Next up, we're off to Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace are playing Leicester. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0. A scrappy stop-start affair, not helped by the awful conditions, and the goal pretty much came out of nothing on 39 minutes. The home fans urging the players to shoot whenever they get anywhere near Leicester territory. Luka Milivojevic did just that from the edge of the box, picking up a ball from Andros Townsend to fire past Kasper Schmeichel. At the other end, Palace debutant keeper Vicente Guita only has had really 1 save to make, that from the returning Jamie Vardy. Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0.
At Molineux, it is Wolves against Bournemouth. Alex Winter.
It's Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0. Raul Jimenez with the goal in the 12th minute, turning in a shot by Diego Jota from the top of the penalty area that was deflected towards the far post, and Jimenez tapped in for his 5th league goal of the season. But it was a horrendous error from Charlie Daniels for Bournemouth to give the ball away in the first place. Bournemouth further problems when Tyrone Mings picked up a back injury, forced off, but they have had their moments. Junior Stanislas turning 12 yards out to fire over the bar, and then Jefferson Lerma firing a shot straight at Raul Patricio late in the half. But Wolves a goal to the good and fairly comfortable on a freezing first half. Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0.
Very pleasant music in the background there, isn't it?
It's relaxing.
Very soothing.
Wolves, yeah.
My favourite would be before the Newcastle game. Is it, you know that, you definitely know the tune. I'd have to find it. Could be Dire Straits, maybe.
I was at Newcastle last
I like
Sunday.
the Wolves. Well, that's Wolves. That
stand out.
The Wolves pre-match, or that's Wolves half-time, but isn't the Wolves pre-match that real like hi-ho Wolverhampton? It's that's actually one of the better ones.
The Newcastle one is do.
If you know what song,
I'll find it.
Is humming.
It's
and then hum it correctly.
I think we probably need that clarification.
Yeah. Finally, let's go to Huddersfield. I wonder what's going on there at half-time. They're up against Newcastle. Joe Townsend.
Half-time, Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 0, and the major talking point is probably the fact Newcastle captain Jamal Lascelles is lucky to still be on the pitch after a high, wild challenge on Laurent Dupatra, but he got away with a yellow card. The home side have undoubtedly been the better team, but they're the Premier League's lowest goal scorers for a reason. There's been lots of pressure, but no clear-cut chance created. If anything, the closest they've come was a spectacular 40-yard free kick from Phil Billing that was tipped over. Newcastle defender Fabian Schär almost scored, but for a point-blank save. It's a battle at half-time. Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 0.
So Palace 1-0 up against Leicester. Watford are leading Cardiff by a goal to 0, and Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0. The other games are scoreless. City beat Everton 3-1 earlier. Did you find it out, Johnny? What was it at Everton? Z cars? Was
Z cars, yeah.
Z cars. Why was that the music?
Do you know what? I actually don't know why. There's another team that plays Z cars. I think it's Watford that plays Z cars as well.
What's the bizarre squeak noise in the background, Kev?
That's Maguire's tie. We've been through this before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope it is anyway.
Sorry about
that is Maguire, isn't it?
I think once again we're just going to have to leave this. Kev, you're going to be at Anfield tomorrow. Roy Keane is going to be there.
Who's going to be there? Sorry?
Roy Keane, your former teammate. Yeah. He's working for Sky.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I saw that. I did see that, yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad at all. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a good game, actually. It should be very good.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Roy. It's hard to have a serious conversation with that going on in the background.
Kev's like that police academy guy with all the sound.
This game
it's actually Kev.
Between Liverpool and United is probably big enough that Sky won't get to talking to Roy Keane about all the Irish stuff, because Keane hasn't actually spoken publicly since the Stephen Ward message.
He's spoken privately to a few people, but yeah, I wonder will they go there. I mean, at the same time, they still have. I'd say they'll
an hour
go
after the game.
It's Keane, Suey, and who else? Keane and Souness and
Carragher.
Oh, that's
in
going
studio,
to be,
I think.
That's going to
Gary
be
Neville.
That's going to be entertaining.
I'd say he'll find a window, or they'll find a window. Depends what needs to be said, or if Anthony feels needs to be said. But I'd be disappointed if they didn't go there to some degree.
53106 is the text number, Kev. We're going to have to let you go, but we've a lot of texts in. John in Galway saying, any update on Declan Rice, lads?
Oh no.
Tell you.
Kev, I don't know if you have an opinion on this, do you?
I can't wait for that update as well. It's keeping me awake at night, that one.
He's on the fence on this again, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
It does seem you're on record as saying it's a lot more likely than, or a lot less unlikely than people think.
There's so many double negatives there, Johnny. I don't.
As definite as ever with his predictions.
I just
in the next 5 to 10
I think
years.
there was a feeling that he was definitely gone, and I don't think that view would be correct. You know, I think there's a chance, but I would have thought Mick actually would be a good person to go and meet him. But as far as I know, that was on the agenda. It is very hard to concentrate. What was that puppet show? Squeak or something. I'm trying to think what it was.
It used to be on the BBC, Suddy and Squeak.
Yeah, there's a shade to that with the whole
thing. When you come home from school.
Yeah.
When we were 9 or 10. The glory days.
That rings a
bell.
I
love the utter nonsense of Kev, though. It's just, you know.
Yeah, of course
if
this was the BBC, Maguire would be outside.
Been put down.
Too cold in Manchester. He's not going out. No chance.
Well, Kev, is Maguire coming to Anfield tomorrow?
No, he's not coming down. Unfortunately, we can't get a pass for him. If we get a pass, we'd take him up to the press box with us.
Well, that is unfortunate for everybody involved. Kev, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Right, lads, all the best. Take it easy.
All right, quick break, and then we'll talk to you the second halves.
My favourite Christmas movie is Home Alone. I have just great memories of Home Alone, and I still love it. I'd still sit down and watch it this Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from News Talk.
This Christmas at Reed's. Personalise your gifts with your favourite photos at Reed's Design and Print. We have fantastic offers at prices you can afford on mugs, calendars, cards, iPhone covers, canvases and lots more. Check us out today at reeds.ie. If you don't have time to visit our branches at Setanta Centre, Nassau Street, Sandyford, Bray and now Stillorgan, you can order online and avail of our free design service. So log on at reeds.ie and see what Reeds can do for you this Christmas.
Christmas dinner. The old questions always come up, like, what did the snowman say to the aggressive carrot? Answer, get out of my face. Or, who hides in the bakery at Christmas? Answer, a mince spy. But if your question is, how long do I cook my turkey? Safe Foods Turkey Calculator has the answer. Find it on safefood.eu, along with lots of other stress-busting hints and tips for the Christmas cook. Safe Foods Turkey Calculator, helping you make sure that your Christmas dinner is an absolute, well, cracker.
'Twas the night before Christmas and all through the house. New appliances had been installed with a click of a mouse. A fridge freezer, a dishwasher, new oven and hob. A 50-inch TV and speakers, just the job. You see, at Appliances Delivered, we always endeavour to make each festive season the best one ever. And with deliveries up to Christmas, you can count on us to get Christmas sorted without any fuss. AppliancesDelivered.ie. Christmas delivered.
Mattresses-delivered.ie. Nationwide delivery within 48 hours for free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Lowest prices guaranteed. Don't forget the hyphen. T's and C's apply.
Springsteen on Broadway. The complete live performance album. Over 2.5 hours of stories and classic songs from Bruce Springsteen's acclaimed Broadway show.
Springsteen on Broadway, double CD. Out now at Golden Discs, in store, online, and Golden Discs at Tesco.
Hello, I'm Jack Nicklaus. This year marks 10 years since my signature course at Killeen Castle opened for play.
Give the gift of golf this Christmas and treat the golfer in your life to an unforgettable experience on the Jack Nicklaus signature course at Killeen Castle. Our ultimate Christmas voucher includes a 4-ball on the Jack Nicklaus Championship course, buggies, course guides, practice balls and a €50 restaurant voucher. To order your voucher, call us now on 01689 3000 or visit KilleenCastle.com.
The all-new Dacia Duster is more rugged, robust and even better looking. And from €149 per month, it's got the perfect figure too. It's the sort of car you'd swipe right on. The sort of car you'd do the dirt with. And by that I mean take it for a drive. Off-road. Light your fire for the all-new Dacia Duster. Visit your local Dacia dealer today. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See dacia.ie.
Aiken Promotions presents Mark Knopfler. Free Arena, Friday, May 24th. Tickets from $65.45 are on sale now. Maybe subject to fees. In association with the Irish Times.
Celebrate Christmas with Centra. We have great offers in store, like Coca-Cola 20-pack cans only €8. And our star offers until Sunday, inspired by Centra chocolate pudding, half price only €2.50. And Budweiser and Carlsberg 20-bottle packs, 2 for €25. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy cost sensibly.
Sometimes, when you're in Kildare Village, you find something you just can't say no to. Not just because it's from a fabulous brand like All Saints or June London, or it's the perfect size, or the perfect cut, or the perfect colour. It's because it's got 70% off during further reductions at Kildare Village. Who could say no to that? Further reductions at Kildare Village with up to 70% off right now. Kildare Village, where there's something extraordinary every day. Enjoy your independent time this weekend. Christmas with the chefs. Give your Christmas dinner the expert touch with recipes and tips for creating delicious mains and succulent sides from Ross Lewis, Tarina Allen, JP McMahon and Indy Power. New World Orders. With the US and Britain now out of contention as leading world democracies, Review asks, are there any new role models in our polarised world? Brought to book. From politics to cookery, our critics pick the best non-fiction of 2018 in Review. Irish Independent and independent.ie on Saturday. Take a fresh look.
On 106 to 108 FM and at newstalk.com. This is News Talk.
Good evening, I'm Tina Gates. The remains of what Gardaí believe to be a newborn baby have been found on a beach in North Dublin. An investigation is now underway following the discovery which was made earlier today. Eamon Torsney reports.
Shortly before 10 a.m, Gardaí were alerted to the discovery of a baby's body on a beach in the North Dublin seaside town. The scene has been sealed off and a technical examination of the area has begun. Gardaí say that the sex of the newborn is unknown at this point. They've raised concerns about the well-being of the child's mother and are asking her to come forward. They're also appealing to anyone with information to contact Balbriggan Garda Station on 01 802 0510.
As Storm Deirdre tracks across the country, a status orange wind warning now applies to just Wexford, Donegal, Cork and Waterford. Gusts of up to 120 kilometres an hour are expected in those counties this evening. There continues to be a status yellow wind alert for Dublin, Carlow, Kildare, Kilkenny, Laois, Longford, Louth, Wicklow, Offaly, Westmeath, Meath, Cavan and Monaghan. A status yellow rainfall warning also remains in place for the whole country, with up to 50 millimetres of rain expected. North Dublin locals have rallied to support a 92-year-old woman who was robbed of €500 just days before Christmas. Staff at Spar and Summerhill heard about the woman's plight and put out a collection jar beside the till. Lord Mayor of Dublin, Neil Ring, says the community chipped in several €1,000.
So luckily enough money has been collected to make up the money that was stolen from the lady, and I know she's a bit shook, but I think she's over. I spoke to her and she's overwhelmed.
That's it for now. Remember, all news updates are on our website. That's newstalk.com.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Des Kelly Interiors for all your last minute gift ideas. Rugs, gift cards, beds, flooring and much more.
A stormy evening with squally gusts and further showers or longer spells of rain, heavy and thundery at times, with further spot flooding and highs of 6 to 12 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Yeah. In other news, I found the tune. Can I play the tune?
I'm on mute again.
You can't play the tune, John. A tune off your laptop is not going to work.
No?
No, it's not going to.
Welcome back to Saturday's Off the Ball. So this is the music that they play as Newcastle are entering the pitch.
Yeah.
You're right. It does now. I get it.
Wow.
I never actually caught that it was the same song they played all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how Johnny's clue didn't give us the hint. Massive hint there.
It's called Local Hero Martin Offler, who is Dire Straits, is he?
He is Dire Straits.
He was actually advertising Vienna. I think I remember seeing an ad for him there.
He's coming to Dublin.
He's obviously
doing his ads all the time.
Something of a tour.
So what is the connection that Newcastle play
Local Hero
song all the time?
Don't know.
Tranmere Rovers also go out to that song.
Do they?
Maybe it's Local Hero. Maybe it's just the title.
I think maybe the song title.
These are local
heroes. The answer
heroes.
could be in the question as such, yeah.
So, what is the best entrance music? You'll Never Walk Alone? Overdone?
I love that, to be honest. I really like that.
We need to start paying more attention at the start of matches to what they're playing.
Galway United was brewing up a storm, which was by the Sunning, which is a Galway band, I think.
Kind of. They were associated with Galway, but I think they're from Clare.
Okay.
That Wolves one just springs to mind for some reason. That's more old school sort of. That's obviously something gone back.
Manchester United play the Stone Roses. This is the one.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, what did Bowes do? Is it Johnny Logan or Spandau Ballet Gold?
Weirdly,
I think it's Spandau Ballet Gold.
They had a stint of Bob Marley there before he wasn't allowed beyond their jersey.
Yeah. Manchester City, I'm fairly sure you would have thought, being from Manchester, there was any number of options. I'm fairly sure they play Hey Jude.
Really?
As the players are coming onto the pitch.
Not do something Oasis.
You would imagine so, but Any City fans can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that may well be the case. You're welcome back. 53106 is the text number. We're live, as always, on all our social channels. Killer, what breed of dog is that? He's a beauty, says Denny. Kev is gone with Maguire.
That was one of the nicer messages.
I know nothing about
told
dogs.
us before, I forget.
It's a what? A Weimaraner.
Yeah, it's something like that.
You're trying to make me sound like an idiot and just... It's a Weimaraner.
It might sound like a German.
I've never heard
it sounds
of
like a German beer, but it's actually a dog. Yeah, that is actually it.
A Weimaraner.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Maguire is, and it was having a thoroughly enjoyable time with whatever squeaky thing it was given.
It's almost had more airtime than Kev.
Mick needs to go look at Ryan Nolan of Inter Milan.
Yeah, well, Nolan's still playing. Like Nolan still needs to get into the Ireland 21 squad. You know, so he's playing with Inter Milan at youth league level now. I mean, he's the captain of their youth league team, and I have no doubt that he's very good because he's got to that level. But I mean, he's at the same level as, you know, Conor Masterson or a lot of players in terms of Leo Connor, like playing underage level. I think there's a more glamour about Ryan Nolan because it's Inter Milan, but it's still the same principle. He's at the same level. I watched Inter Milan during the week, by the way, who were horrendous.
They're poor.
They were so bad.
Against PSV, I know them.
Yeah.
Well, PSV are the most unlucky team in Europe all season. They got 1 point. I commentated on a good few of their matches. They went in front in 3 of their matches and ended up losing all 3 of them. They played Barcelona in their second last game. I've never seen a team rip Barcelona apart like them. And they lost.
Yeah.
They hit the woodwork 3 times in the first half.
Inter are pretty average.
And Inter are, aside from Icardi,
actually, the Italian teams have had an absolute nightmare this week.
The standards not great in Italy.
But we remember talking at the start of the season with Ronaldo going there, this was going to like galvanise things. Okay, I know Napoli were probably, you know, sort of the kick of a ball as such, and they could have gone through, but they had a bit of a nightmare.
But Napoli lacked quality against Liverpool, though. Napoli could easily have, like, they had chance to win that game.
Yeah, no, Inter were appalling.
Should I point out to Kevin Doyle, who's messaged in, he said, yeah, just 4 goals in his last 2 games, nowhere near his best. He's talking about Salah here, right? Salah's record against the top teams this season is absolutely abysmal, up until the Napoli game, who themselves aren't that great. Like
abysmal is a bit strong.
He hadn't scored.
He's the top scorer in the Premier League
against Salah.
So
Johnny. So Salah's the new Hoban in terms of Johnny's personal.
The goals he scored have all been pretty much against weak teams. I think he's got 10 goals, joint top scorer.
Yes.
But they've all been against weak sides. But I think he's clicking into form at this stage. But he's still not quite at his best. I mean, the Salah of last season does not miscontrol that chance in the first half. Like it was a point and shoot job, and he completely miscontrolled it. And I don't think he meant the goal either.
What?
I don't think he meant it.
He absolutely meant it.
I completely don't think he meant it either.
You're the type of person who says Ronaldinho didn't try and actually score past David Seaman.
So he looked across to he's off balance.
That's the genius of him.
I disagree. Dan?
And what, he miskicked it then?
I think he meant to cross it, and he.
I think it was a strike on goal, but I don't know. It's we can argue it. Johnny, you were strong on this from the start. To be fair,
I was. But
there,
do you know what the mad thing about the game was? So the Van Dijk challenge, right?
Johnny goes to a football match.
You hear everything.
But the Van Dijk challenge, right? The place was apoplectic when he gave a free kick. Like the play, and I was one of them. I was like, how can you give a free kick for that? Should have been sent off.
Yeah, it's his composure and just class that gets him away with it, because it was reckless, but he didn't fly into it and continue on with his challenge for 5 yards. He literally kept standing afterwards and sort of strolled along as if nothing happening here.
It could have been very bad, but the difference in like watching football on TV versus seeing how fast they pass the ball and move live, it was actually quite eye-opening, because I rarely see games at Premier League level. And unfortunately, it's played a bit faster than Galway United games in Division 1 of the League of Ireland.
I could have predicted such a thing. Go to games is the message at any level at all. Chance for Wolves to make it 2-0. Oh, horror show from Helder Costa, who fires that high and wide from about 6 yards in.
It was a great break. It was actually a counter-attack, because Bournemouth have actually had a reasonable spell. And it was a sort of a rapid-fire counter-attack. And I assume was it Jimenez in the middle, but he was a bit behind him in terms of the pullback, so maybe it wouldn't have worked. It was the right thing to do to shoot, but
probably should have crossed it earlier.
Goal between Huddersfield and Newcastle. Joe Townsend.
Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 1. It's a sweeping counter-attack from Newcastle. Brilliant play down the right-hand side, and exchange of passes from Ayotse Perez and Javier Manquillo, who underlapped, and a brilliant ball across from Manquillo left Salomon Rondon to sweep the ball home from around 12 yards, leaving the goalkeeper no chance. It's against the run of play, but it's Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 1.
Let's see what's happening between Spurs and Burnley. Andrew Cheel.
Tottenham 0, Burnley 0 it remains, and the visitors continue to frustrate the home team and the fans. Joe Hart is taking an absolute age to clear each and every ball from his penalty area, and he's not alone as well. Time wasting is endemic throughout the Burnley team, and the Spurs fans are giving them plenty of verbals to let them know. Burnley have had a rare attack. Lennon with a first time cross, Barnes on the volley, who was blocked by Harry Kane, back helping his defence. Spurs 0, Burnley 0.
Lads, Mark Knopfler was raised in Newcastle. The town love him. He wrote songs about the place. That's why they're playing before the matches, says Baz and Lucan. And lots of people texting in something very similar.
Thanks, Baz.
I assumed that Mark Knopfler was American.
Really?
Yes. No?
No. I would have thought he was.
Very American sounding band, Dire Straits.
No, not really. No, I definitely would have done they were sort of from the British end of things.
Well, I'll tell you, I've learned something today. That'll stick with me.
The live version.
FC St. Pauli, Bundesliga 2.
Yeah, they're the hipster team.
By AC/DC. It's not very hipster, is it?
Pauk Salonika, when Sean Rovers played there in 2011, they actually, I think it was Sweet Child of Mine, but it was just the absolute power of the... It was the volume, and then the volume generated.
Were you at that
crowd.
game?
Yeah.
I think Pau fans are. I've never seen anything like it.
The noise, the atmosphere in the stadium. I'm trying to think, was that when the team came out, or was that just in the 5-10 minutes before? But considering there was a Europa League game against, an unfancied Irish club, with all due respect, the atmosphere pre-match was amazing.
Speaking of that group, apparently Harry Kane's first goal for Spurs was against Rovers.
It was, yeah. It was.
I didn't know that.
Historic moment. Lads, Hi Ho Wolverhampton is by far the best intro song. I've been to Molyneux a few times to hear it from Matty and Lucan, a true Wolves fan.
Is he also from Lucan? Your man Baz is from Lucan as well.
We've a huge listenership out Lucan.
Like the woman on
hello to everybody at Lucan. We may come some Saturday afternoon out to Lucan and do the show live from
Lucan.
The shopping centre. Spa Hotel.
No, the Fox
My parents got married in the Spa Hotel.
Did they?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe we could go there and I could reminisce.
Or the Fox Hunter garage there, yeah.
That's the only other place I know.
That's the Lucan.
That's not really Lucan though. That's just
West County Hotel is up there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know someone who lives there.
The village itself is obviously off the main road, but it's great. There's a couple of people.
Great to have so many people from Lucan listening in. I like Hi Ho Wolverhampton it's fine. It's a bit cheesy, but Robert Plant is a Wolves fan, isn't he? Robert Plant, you've one of the greatest bands of all time with some of the best intro riffs of all time. Go with a bit of Led Zeppelin as your intro music.
No. Like the Hi Ho Wolverhampton, it's 3 o'clock. You have your pie, you have your bovril or whatever you're having at the game.
Bovril?
It's old school.
Wolverhampton.
It's old school football. Fathers and their sons and their children going to the game. That's a real old school intro.
Do you know what I like? Half time in the All Ireland finals, just as the teams they're on the pitch, they're ready to throw it back in. They play the opening bars of Let's Dance, and it's just perfect because it's absolute full volume.
I recall that actually.
You're like, boom. It's
better than all the bloody parading before the game.
Well, there is that.
Playing the bold Fenian men in a bid to attract.
Babs in Cork. We also have people listening in Cork. Infuriated is Babs. Leave Salah alone, you twit.
Oh God, yeah.
You'll never walk alone.
Is it wrong to have such standards though for Salah to say that he hasn't been at his best this season when clearly he hasn't?
Well, that seems to be the problem that Liverpool supporters can't accept. That
Johnny's just
he's still very good. He's just not right now the best striker in the world.
But Firmino is much more of an issue. Like Firmino would be lucky enough he will start tomorrow, I'd say, but he'd be lucky enough to keep his place now the way he's playing. He was very ineffective on.
Does he not do a lot of the on-scene work, Johnny?
He doesn't look like he's going to score though, and he's not really looking like he's going to necessarily set up.
He's playing in a different role.
This is the thing.
So they're not playing 3 up front. He's playing as a sort of number 10.
I don't think it suits him where he's playing him at the moment. But like Manny had a shocker on Tuesday night as well, an absolute shocker.
But that's one of those? I'm sure Jurgen.
I think it was just one of those nights.
But he has a lot of those.
He
has a lot of those kind of nights.
He's not going to reconstruct. He's not going to sort of reform his front three after some ropey games for people. They're all an essential part of the package.
Sean in Limerick says Everton are dragging Coleman's performances level down. Leighton Baines the same. Time for him to move on.
Well, I think they gave him a big long-term contract during his injury, so I don't think he's going to be moving. I think the problem is that I remember doing a piece on this back in August, September. Like, has the time passed for him to get that really big move? I think the summer after when he got injured, you know, if he'd stayed fit in March 2017, I think he possibly was coming into that form.
Well, I've always felt from that day that thankfully those injuries, they're not career changing, but for Coleman it was career altering, because there's no question he was at the very peak of his game. And as you say, that was the summer. There was a lot of openings, as it turned out, that summer where clubs were looking for a right back, and he definitely would have gone somewhere.
It's timing. And it's funny, we have that chat about Matt Doherty earlier, that, I mean, as I said, sometimes you just need to be cynical. There was definitely an interest from Manchester United and Coleman, and I can't think when it was. It was one of the summers. It's like maybe 4 or 5 years ago back. And I think if he'd had it
before they signed Darmian.
Yeah, it might have been around that time. And I'm trying to think, was it Moyes? Was it when Moyes was there going into Van Gaal? But if he'd had a different agent maybe, or a different mindset, or a different mentality, or just you just know that he was never going to rock the boat when he got wind of interest and sort of down tools or storm into the office. And he probably was pretty happy there. But again, in hindsight, we're all a genius in what you should have done at that time. But sometimes you just have your window, and this is your time. And then, I mean, there was that talk that United, they had obviously Diego Dalot there now. So going forward, like, they think he's going to be a fantastic player. So United's not an option. If you're talking about someone like Doherty, where is Doherty actually going to go? He's probably at the best club. He might be at the best club, with all due respect, that he could be at the moment.
But what are the other options?
Well, he'd be better than Man United,
Leicester or Everton.
Well, that's the thing. But United might have the guy for the future there. That could be the obstacle for him. The
Fox Hunters closed down, lads. Head for the Ball Alley pub. Mel Gibson and Roy Keane have drank there on separate occasions. Great spot. Baz once again in Lucan.
Would have been better if they'd been
Is that Baz again?
Baz, yeah.
It would be better if they'd been there together. Imagine meeting Mel Gibson
and Roy
Keane together. Yeah.
Wow. Roy really can't help himself, can he? Like, he's out of a gig a month and already he's back on TV, a little bit of punditry. Stay out of the limelight for a little bit.
I don't know, though. I mean, in theory he's stayed out of the limelight since August because he hasn't spoken. So, his silence has gone on for longer, as you indicated earlier on. So he might have stuff to say. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, as I said, I think you're right, though. Liverpool Man U is not going to be the moment. I mean, he has this gig with ITV, but Champions League is pretty much over now. So I don't know, has he been doing the highlights?
ITV don't have any Champions League.
They don't have any highlights programmes, no?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Where's Keane's next move?
I don't watch anything but Virgin Media Sport now.
Of course, yeah. Look,
Keane's next move is going to be certainly
not very exciting.
Well, hard to predict. Like, if Roy Keane, say if John Caulfield were sacked by Cork City and Roy Keane applied for the job, he probably wouldn't get it.
Johnny. Roy Keane is getting that gig tomorrow if John Caulfield leaves.
If he went for the Dundalk job, Dan, do you reckon he'd get it?
Well,
they'd be mad not to give it to him.
Why?
Because the level of interest that would be in the club because Roy Keane is there.
I don't think the Dock would hire him. But
his currency has gone down an awful lot.
Yeah, but he'd also have to accept, like you mentioned, this is a wonderfully hypothetical debate. He'd also have to accept the lowest contract, of his career in 20 something years. So I just don't think you're dealing in a realistic scenario. If he was willing to work for whatever 60-70 grand a year, I'm sure Cork would give him a crack. Yeah.
Would you believe there's been another goal at Vicarage Road? Watford against Cardiff. Nigel Bidmead.
Watford 2, Cardiff 0, the home side doubling their lead 7 minutes after the restart. A picture-perfect goal from Jose Holebas. It was played to him 20 yards out. He picked his spot with his left foot, first time, just guiding it into the top corner. Cardiff, well, they really need a goal to get back into this game. It's Watford 2, Cardiff 0.
Molyneux next, Wolves against Bournemouth. Alex Winter.
It's Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0, but Wolves should have doubled their lead through Helder Costa, who was played into the right-hand side of the penalty area. Had Asmir Begovic already committed down to his right-hand side. He went to the goalkeeper's left, but shot embarrassingly wide and over the crossbar into the Wolves fans behind the goal. Bournemouth trying to press for an equaliser, but only have an Andrew Sermon shot from distance that drifted well wide to show for their efforts so far in the second half. Still Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0.
Palace against Leicester at Selhurst Park. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 1, Leicester 0. Luka Milivojevic's stunning 39th minute goal still separating the two sides in an otherwise forgettable first half. Leicester boss Claude Puel made a change at half-time with midfielder James Maddison being replaced by Rashid Ghazal. Damari Gray had an early chance to draw the visitors level but volleyed over the crossbar. The game is opening up and thankfully livening up. Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0.
Spurs haven't drawn a game all season. Is that about to change? They're up against Burnley at Wembley. Andrew Cheal.
Tottenham 0, Burnley 0. It remains. Spurs still being frustrated by the very stern and patient Burnley defence. Too often, though, Spurs' final ball lacks penetration. Christian Eriksen, now on as a substitute for Moura, may help in that respect. For Burnley, Brady and Bardsley have both been yellow carded for time wasting. You could have gone out for Christmas lunch waiting for them to restart the game. It's Spurs 0, Burnley 0.
City beat Everton 3-1 earlier. What's so funny, Johnny? I ask.
Is it Andrew Cheetah's doing the Spurs game?
Yes.
He's definitely taken note of the time wasting tactics from Burnley. He's made a point of it must be
winding him up.
Oh,
yeah.
Christmas lunch could have been had. Joe Hart previously was.
Yeah.
I think he's getting wound up by it all as well.
Matty is back in touch. I don't know if Matty and Baz know each other in Lucan, but
more than two people in Lucan.
I hope it's not.
Matty here again. Spa Hotel Christmas show is on tonight. The Lucan Lions will be there collecting for charity. Baz is right about the ball alley. There's a lot in that. So if you're going to the Spa Hotel Christmas show tonight, bring some extra cash and give it to the Lucan Lions.
And maybe we can put the lads in touch away from the show as well.
They could meet up on a Saturday afternoon.
Just talk about Lucan.
Are you Baz?
Coleman is the worst player on the Everton team. Not the same since the injury, says Rob in RD.
To be fair, do you know him, Dan? To be fair to Coleman, how would anyone be the
Never
same?
met a good judge of football from RD yet.
Or anyone called Rob. There's actually, I'm sure there's several Robs in RD. I don't know if he's the worst player on the side. There is. It's funny though what Kev mentioned, not noticing it in the ground. And I was there for his comeback from the broken leg, and the warmth and the feeling towards him was incredible that night. And from 15 minutes before kickoff, but I think there is sometimes just a danger of fatigue. A player's been around for a long period of time, and particularly online and stuff, everyone's like wowed by this new player. And I sometimes think a player's career goes in cycles sometimes, that when they're a young lad on the scene, great, we want more of them. And they all get to this stage of their career where people get a bit tired of them for a period of time, and then there's a glorious send-off in their latter years. You remember like Ryan Giggs, who at the end of his career at Manchester United was this legendary figure, got the Footballer of the Year, was a personality, he got one of the awards. But Giggs in his late 20s, 30s went through a phase of actually being a bit of a target.
Well, there was a definite sense of here was a guy who never fulfilled his potential, who could have been, was never a contender for World Footballer of the Year or European Footballer of the Year, and that's the player he should have been.
So it's part of the cycle, and Coleman is at that stage. He's 30 now. He's not sort of exciting and new and glamorous anymore. And there are other fullbacks, I'm sure, that could come along and be linked with them that are a lot more thrilling in terms of their profile.
Build Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations, sung at a lot of Shamrock Rovers games.
I think, the Bows fans have claimed it, though. That was one of the big scandals of this year.
But I thought Johnny Logan was Bows.
No, but what happened was, it actually was one of the funniest.
Johnny Logan is Bows.
It's not funny for any Shamrock Rovers fans, to be fair, but they've had a bad run against Bows this year. And they were losing against them in Tala, and the Bows fans started singing Build Me Up Buttercup, which is the Rovers song. So at full-time Rovers 0, Bows 1. The Bows end erupts into Build Me Up Buttercup. So I'm sitting in the press area next to the PA, and some Rovers fan comes running up the steps, like one of these lads who's escaped from a fire out of a burning building. He was like, turn it off! Turn it off! They're singing it! Pointing down to the other end. And like the PA guy was in a real difficult position, because he's probably contractually meant to play this after every game. So I'm not sure if that song, has it sort of survived as a
the
Rovers
Bohemian
tune.
supporters could please stop singing our song. So did they now play it at Dalymount?
No, I think they've sang it once or twice since, but the look in the guy's face, I mean, this is pure passion, pure frustration, and in fairness, it was a pretty clever, I think they call it trolling now, was it, from the Bow section?
It's going to be a big season for Shamrock Rovers next season. Big season.
They signed a lot of players. Signed Jack Byrne, which is a fascinating sort of winter signing. And like an unbelievably talented player who is still only 22 and is going to be playing in our league next year. And I know there's a certain stench that comes with that, because he's had all these moves in this period of time. Let's go, where's this going? Where's his career going?
It's only 2 years since he was in the Ireland squad.
Yeah, 20. Well, he thought he might get to Euro 2016. So. Yeah, so because that's the season he spent with Canberra was 15-16 in terms of the sort of the winter season in Dutch style, and he was the next big thing. And
Martin O'Neill chopped him off with the knees.
O'Neill didn't take to him in terms of his confidence, and certainly his confidence statements.
O'Neill doesn't like confidence players because Matt Doherty's a bit of a cock as well. He doesn't like Doherty.
Yeah, he likes the Coleman understated character, and he didn't take to and Danny Crowley be another one who was mentioned, who's actually playing in Holland now. I don't think he took too well to him, but I mean, Jack Byrne, like around this time last year, or sort of October, November last year, he was doing things in League One in certain games that made people say this guy's too good for League One. But then Oldham ended up getting relegated. And I mean, that club was a shambles. We know from the Patrick McElhenney experience as well. That club was a bit of a shambles. But then he's gone to Kilmarnock and not played. But the fact he's going to be here, it's going to be really interesting because, I mean, he hasn't lost his ability. It's just a matter of proven he can do it over a period of time.
Would you believe it? There's been another goal at Vicarage Road. Watford against Cardiff, one of the all-time great games. Nigel Bidmead.
It's now Watford 3, Cardiff 0. The third goal, very similar to the second goal, played to the edge of the area. This time it was Domingos Quina, right-footed, first time bending it beyond Neil Etheridge in the Cardiff City goal. Watford 3, Cardiff 0.
Lads, stand up and fight at Thomond Park is the best pre-match music, says Mike.
Yeah, it's rugby though, isn't it?
If ever there was a line to just sum up this 3 to 5 minutes at it, yeah, it's rugby. By the way, full live coverage of Cast against Munster coming your way in less than an hour from now.
It's an away game though, you won't have the...
At 5 o'clock we're going to have some sort of a transformation studio and we'll be fully
You'll
decked
be standing
out.
up to fight around that time.
We'll check in with Conor Morris very shortly, who's travelled all the way to Cast through all the strikes and everything to cover this game.
Yeah.
We've Andy Dunn at the Aviva as well for Leinster against Bath. Both those games starting at 5:30. So we're here all the way till 8 o'clock tonight, lads.
Are you saying until 8 o'clock?
I'm saying until 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh my God. That is a long stint.
It's a Rover song and we still finished ahead of Bose.
Well, that's hardly a boast. Bloody hell.
Can you find out if...
times our budget.
Can you...
They probably do, like.
Can you find out if Baz is Baz O'Reilly? If it is, I do know him. He's a great musician.
Baz?
It's great to bring people together.
Like Lucan chat. It's like the old priest chat back. There's 2 more.
What if Baz doesn't want to know him, though? What if Baz is like, oh, Christ. Really don't want to meet up with this guy.
That lad, yeah.
We're to speculate. I presume his name is actually
There's
Barry.
probably GDPR issues with giving out his number.
There probably is.
So you actually can't do that.
Anyone who confidently predicts the outcome of United versus Liverpool doesn't know football.
Well, the bookmakers have made Liverpool 4 to 7 favourites. That's how confident they are Liverpool are going to win. Man United beat Juve away this year, but on all known form.
I still fancy United to get. Aidan O'Hara did a very good piece in the Independent today. Now, like the amount of work that went into it, breaking down all Liverpool's set piece frailties over, like basically studying almost every Liverpool set.
What did he put it down to?
Well, his point was that they're trying to play with this high line.
Yeah.
People should read the piece because it's very detailed. So I'm sort of doing a disservice by trying to give it a bite-sized version. But they're playing with this high line, and Klopp has previously described his approach to corners in terms of, one player at the near post, I think, and then, several watching the runners coming in. And there are a number of times this season where they've had narrow escapes in terms of the high lines being breaking out. Because they're leaving space there for Alisson to come and claim the ball or not. And I think it was Mitrovic at Fulham had a goal disallowed. There's been several games where they've just...
So they're holding the line basically up past the edge of the D.
Yeah, and Everton,
very high, like.
Everton didn't take... Everton had opportunities, and basically Aidan went through just opportunities that Liverpool had given the teams this year, just hadn't been punished for whatever reason. And when Manchester United have stopped Liverpool in general play in their last couple of meetings, and they do have the players there to expose them from a set piece situation.
Do you reckon Pogba will play?
I don't know.
It's incredible, like.
Say doubtful.
Yeah.
Away at Anfield, the pace that Liverpool are going to try and set.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, are we analysing it as a football decision, or depending what point he's trying to make towards Pogba at that stage? But I thought it was just a good piece in terms of laying out a very coherent reason why Manchester United can get a result.
But there's obviously Klopp is aware of this, that there are risks to playing that.
Well, he's explained his strategy before in terms of how he likes to approach that ball. And yeah, it's true. He's not going to be that open in terms of, well, here's a way to do us.
Mick needs to look at getting in Bamford.
Patrick, he's having a shot. Well, he actually injured himself, didn't he, Bamford? He hasn't
well,
scored
also
this season.
Patrick Bamford is, and was he still with Palace at some stage last season? Listen, it's all very well looking at players who aren't part of the squad and thinking they're great and never actually watching them play football. I would say if Patrick Bamford has scored 10 goals in the last 5 seasons, he had one good season at Middlesbrough.
I'd say
take that away.
10 goals in any one season, you mean?
Aside from his one good season at Middlesbrough.
Yeah, like he's a decent player. I'd be lying to say.
Is he better than Scott Hogan?
Well, is he having a better season? Well, he's been injured, right? But David McGoldrick is actually having a better season than any of those named, you know. And McCarthy obviously has a relationship with McGoldrick.
That O'Neill didn't have.
And I don't think their relationship was good.
Bamford got 18 goals one season and 17 in another.
God damn it.
17 for Middlesbrough and 18 for MK Dons in 2012, 2013.
I said 5 years.
Yeah, 5.
And 12 for Middlesbrough last season.
No, that's his. You're looking at the wiki stats there.
Could be wrong. Wouldn't trust it.
Could be very wrong.
Trust it.
But
also needs to try and persuade Redmond, which was a story in the paper today, that he's going after Nathan Redmond.
Nathan Redmond, who had turned down Ireland before, but very much qualifies. You know, very much qualifies. So he hasn't got a look in. He hasn't got a look in with England at all. So I mean, Redmond's a Premier League player at least. I would sort of share your sort of scepticism to some degree with regard to Bamford.
We're just still looking for the next big thing.
Yeah, well,
the
thing is, we've had Troy
Redmond has played for England. He has one cap.
Redmond? It was a friendly match, though.
It was, so screw that. Worth nothing.
Yeah, well, listen, we've got a guy who's played 3 they might be taking. So I think McCarthy, obviously, when he was there the first time, he was never shy about going down that route. But he's also spoken about how how he doesn't have the huge amount of time to say to go through a period of like bedding in for players. So I think if you're going after someone, you want to be sure they're going to come in and be a very effective squad member straight away.
Latest scores in the Premier League: Palace 1-0 up against Leicester, Newcastle 1-0 up away from home against Huddersfield, still scoreless between Spurs and Burnley, Watford leading Cardiff 3-0 and Wolves 1, Bournemouth 0. Manchester City beat Everton 3-1 a little bit earlier. We'll run you down through all the championship scores and we will head across to France to start building up to Cast against Munster next.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
News Talk Breakfast.
We've been getting a number of texts in here for you, Kieran, calling you, of all things, a snowflake.
Yeah, just a few. What an insufferable pair. Now is Kieran the Snowflake Cudahy having joined News Talk Breakfast. Kieran Cudahy showing true snowflake traits this morning. Would Kieran ever just go get a life and stop being such a snowflake millennial? Typical Kieran Cudahy snowflake garbage as usual. Snowflake, 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 snowflake.
Well, 'tis the season for snowflakes after all.
News Talk Breakfast
in association with Air.
With Shane Coleman and Kieran Cudahy.
I am not a snowflake.
Weekday mornings at 7 on News Talk.
Be safe when driving this winter. Make sure your vision is crystal clear at all times by defogging and de-icing when necessary. Always keep a screen scraper and de-icer at hand to keep your mirrors and windows clear. Motor Tips, brought to you by Volkswagen Service. Book a service online at volkswagen.ie.
This 200-page report for your board meeting was printed using a branded ink cartridge. And this 200-page report was printed using a high-grade ink cartridge from inkjet.ie. What's the difference? Oh, about €15. Get quality ink cartridges from just €2 and fast delivery at inkjet.ie.
Happiness is opening an Ireland's Blue Book gift voucher on Christmas morning. A wonderful choice of Ireland's most romantic country houses, castles, historic hotels and restaurants. Visit irelandsbluebook.com to send a Blue Book gift voucher to someone you love this Christmas.
Aiken Promotions presents Bob Dylan and his band. And Neil Young and Promise of the Real. Together for one night in Nolan Park, Kilkenny, July 14th, subject to license. Tickets from €80 go on sale this Monday at 9 a.m. May be subject to fees. In association with the Irish Independent.
Celebrate Christmas with Centra. We have great offers in store, like Coca-Cola 20-pack cans only €8. And our star offers until Sunday, inspired by Centra chocolate pudding, half price only €2.50. And Budweiser and Carlsberg 20-bottle packs, 2 for €25. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy call sensibly.
It's the twinkling lights as you stroll down Grafton Street. The buzz of shopping for that perfect Christmas gift. It's that festive feeling you only get in the Grafton Quarter. Dublin's premium Christmas shopping district. Home to the biggest brands, entertainment and great places to enjoy delicious food and drinks. The Grafton Quarter really is a winter wonderland. Discover the magic and plan your Christmas visit at graftonquarter.ie.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
When does movie night become something more? When you light the fire. Whatever you're doing, make the moment even warmer with the welcoming aroma of Bord na Móna peat briquettes.
Mattresses-delivered.ie. Nationwide delivery within 48 hours for free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Lowest prices guaranteed. Don't forget the hyphen. T's and C's apply.
Families in countries like South Sudan and Yemen are facing starvation. Please give what you can. Visit Trócaire.org or call 1850 408 408. Trócaire, until love conquers fear.
Get Christmas wrapped up this year with Harvey Norman with gifts that they'll really love. Get the super slim and colourful HP notebook with Intel processor, now only $499. Or get the sleek and lightweight Samsung 7-inch tablet for only €99, our lowest price ever. Or get the DJI Spark Fly More combo, offering everything drone enthusiasts need to get started, now only $559. So for more gift ideas, visit us online or in store. Christmas wrapped up. Love Harvey Norman.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
The cheek of Kevin Kilbane, by the way, to message in and kind of castigate us for our lack of knowledge in dire straits when...
It was Nathan.
Yeah, well, first of all, his name, but secondly, like, he had a bloody dog squeaking with a toy for about 10 minutes.
Listen, the cheek of that man to question anybody's professionalism.
I know, but I mean, in particular today.
Of all days.
I mean, his contribution was basically ended by a dog turning off his Skype. That actually happened today.
I honestly, like, The Walk of Life for me is an American song.
It's not an American song.
It is.
No.
I would have thought that that Mark Knopfler was sort of a Springsteen type.
Yeah.
Hard working.
I kind of agree.
Really?
Sultan is swing.
Sultan is a swing. Brings back memories.
The live version of that, if you get it on YouTube, is unbelievable.
Romeo and Juliet wasn't written by some guy from Newcastle.
There you are.
There you are.
Wow.
I would have thought they were British. I didn't know they were Newcastle or anything like that.
Well, now,
we're getting a lot of messages, a lot of grief.
No, we haven't heard from Baz in a while, actually.
No, we haven't heard from the lads, no. Patrick Bamford has scored, by the way, today.
Great, delighted from that guy. He's
Call him up.
Leeds
Leeds
his first league goal of the season.
Leeds, yeah, and someone actually did message in saying marching on together Leeds as a pre-match tune.
Never been to Ellen Road.
We also Leeds is a nice
city.
I've never been to Ellen Road either. But Emmett
O'Halloran on Twitter said, "Don't FAI require all League of Ireland clubs to walk out to that awful "Talk to Me, Baby" to have After All Frank and Walters.
Yeah, After All Frank and Walters, Cork actually is a good one as well. I think a lot of clubs just ignored it. It was an FAI diktat that this
was this part of the marketing?
This is the start of the year. It was like, this song, you've got to play this song before every game.
So everyone will know
this is the song.
Is a League of Ireland game.
But it's like, the song is just, it's
not very uplifting.
This idea has been sort of cooked up, well-intentioned in some marketing room, but actually it's the individual identity of clubs and their own songs is a lot better than some generic sort of tune.
Look at Doherty's one here.
Which in fairness, I love that. I think most clubs ignored the order and just started playing their own songs after a while because the song.
That
It's
is
so memorable, I can't even remember what it is.
Just watching Doherty there, just the dynamism of that run, and puts a great cross into the box, and Wolves absolutely dominating. But I don't know, if you had a choice between Matt Doherty and Seamus Coleman as a quintessential right back for Ireland at this particular moment in time, to paraphrase.
But he's not playing as a quintessential right back. The problem is Coleman.
What I'm saying is, if you are to pick the right back, is it a straightforward decision?
It's certainly not as straightforward as it was a year ago. But if you're playing a back four, Seamus Coleman is your right back. I think you can play Matt Doherty left back, or you could play him right side of midfield.
Yeah,
team,
that could happen.
You could play him right side of midfield because he's used to doing something of a defensive job.
Yeah.
But Doherty's brilliance is in attack.
I
watched him last week up at Newcastle, and there was at least 4 or 5 occasions in the second half where they didn't find him, but he's brilliant at drifting off his marker, and he's the type of guy who pops up at the back, as he did in injury time, and nobody knows he was there. Yeah. The left back hasn't looked over his shoulder, and Doherty is sort of nicked in to get the goal.
They've just gotten a second.
No, obviously it's been a
that's a replay.
It's the earlier goal.
I apologize.
Obviously it's been the perils of live radio.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, I mean, Matt Doherty has played a couple of times for Ireland in an abject year, so it's very harsh to judge them. But he hasn't been able to be nowhere near as effective. Like even the Denmark game, and he was playing wing back, but.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they had the ball for a good portion of the game, and that's
I think they had 70% possession,
and that's the problem. So I think there's a way to find both of them. Well, I suppose Mick, of course, wouldn't he, when he was in the job previously, he would have been used to having several. Did he play Gary Kelly on the right side of midfield with Steve Finnan at right full?
That could definitely happen. I'd say that's probably more likely.
Stephen Carr obviously got injured and missed the World Cup then, but he would have had an abundance of like full back options around that time. He definitely played Gary. Was Gary Kelly playing right side of midfield when he got? No, McAteer obviously was right side of midfield, but when Kelly definitely right side.
Is Doherty more a McAteer type player than a Gary Kelly or a Steve Finnan?
Yeah, he gets up and down a lot like McAteer did, but
shades of Finnan though in terms of his technical.
I don't think he'd be that adept at left back.
Developer.
Yeah, I don't think left back would really suit him anywhere near as much. Just looking at he uses his right foot a hell of a lot. Like, do you know
Speaking
what I mean?
of Denmark, our good friend has only gone and done it again. Goal at Wembley, Andrew Shield.
Tottenham 1, Burnley 0. It's finally come in the 90th minute, and it's Christian Eriksen that scored it. A long ball into the penalty area, helped on by Dele Alli, knocked wide by Harry Kane, and Christian Eriksen with a first-time right footer rammed it into the back of the net past Joe Hart, who is finally beaten. Frustration over for Spurs. They lead 1-0.
Frustration over for Andrew, I think.
91st minute, Christian Eriksen gives Surely Spurs a victory in that game. So 1-0 they lead in injury time. They still have been drawing a game all season.
That is quite mad.
Yeah.
Well, it also shows the value of winning matches and not drawing games. So having 2 weeks, because they've lost 4 matches.
There's a guy who's done like kind of stats on sport and football. I have no idea what his name is, but he's like, it makes no sense that clubs don't push a lot harder for winning goal when it's like 1-1 with 10 minutes to go, because it's like you're back in a 2-1 shot effectively you're obviously going to get 2 points more, or you lose 1. So it's like, why not actually go gung-ho? Statistically, are you not better off? You're better off winning 1 game, losing the next, than drawing both, basically.
Lads, Matty here again. The War Office has me on domestic duties this afternoon. It's a little bit sexist, I think. I actually started reading that before. I just read that live.
That's dangerous.
War Office is in quotation marks. I presume Shane has read this message before he typed it through. Your banter has made the hoovering bearable.
Wow.
Well done, Johnny. You're the banter merchant around here, aren't you?
Wait a second. The hoovering?
Well, you have to put the earphones in to be able to listen, otherwise.
Top class radio with great panellists and valued contributions from Baz and me. Keep up the good work.
I was pretty sure it was like Matt or Baz.
There had to be a catch there, yeah.
God damn it. So because they've been involved, it was a far better.
It's been their show too.
Absolutely. I hope you guys meet up in Lucan.
Over the Christmas.
At the Spa Hotel.
Something to talk about over the Christmas.
Throw a few quid into the box there for charity tonight.
The Lucan Lions.
So they're into injury time in all these games in the Premier League. Wolves, it looks as though, are going to hang on for another win. It'll be a 3rd straight victory for this Wolves side after beating Chelsea and Newcastle. Still leading Bournemouth by 1-0. They're in injury time. Palace, an important home win for them where they've really struggled at Selhurst Park this season. 1-0 up against Leicester City. Newcastle 1-0 up away from home against Huddersfield. Watford 3, Cardiff 2. Should have mentioned that Cardiff got a couple of goals back. Junior Hoylett and Bobby Reid. So they are still playing in that. Watford were 3-0 up and cruising. The late game sees Fulham take on West Ham. In the Championship, Villa 2, Stoke 2.
That's like a bit of a cracker, that one, yeah, because it was 0-0 at half time.
Preston 3-1 up.
Yeah, like Villa under Dean Smith have become like this amazingly entertaining side. They've been involved in all these high scoring games, and actually Villa and Stoke are both outside the playoff places. Leeds are going back top as it stands, but Norwich are playing this evening against Bristol City. But it's actually a really good promotion race this year. Like in the Championship in recent years, we've had a couple of teams pull away from the pack now. Leeds and Norwich actually are potentially opening up a small gap, but West Brom are flying. Sheffield United, West Brom was last night. Derby are decent, Middlesbrough are decent, Villa are hitting a bit of form, so Forest are in there too. So it's actually going to be a really good promotion race. But all these teams that would have been in the Premier League around 1993, 94, 95.
The glory days.
It's mad how long Leeds are out. It's for a club of that stature.
2-0 to Wolves. They've scored on the break in injury time. Cavaliero with the goal. Really neat finish from him. He had plenty of time to think about it. Brought it into the edge of the area and fired it past the Bournemouth keeper. So Wolves going to beat Bournemouth by 2-0. Leeds are going to be top of the Championship. They are 1-0 up away from home against Bolton. My boy Patrick Bamford, never in doubt.
Prolific Bamford.
With the only goal of that game. Elsewhere, Blackburn 2, Birmingham 2. Hull are 2-0 up at home against Brentford. It's Ipswich 1, Wigan 0. Preston lead Millwall by 3-1. Alan Brown scored the first of the goals for Preston in that game. QPR 2-1 up against Middlesbrough. It's 1-1 between Rotherham and Reading, and Swansea lead Sheffield Wednesday by 2-1. The late game in the Championship sees Bristol City take on Norwich. Norwich can regain top spot from Leeds if they go on and win that game. A reminder, we're on air from 1 o'clock tomorrow with a double header from the Premier League. First up, we're at St Mary's. It is Southampton against Arsenal. Dave and Brian Kerr will be at that game, and then myself and Kev will be at Anfield for Liverpool against Manchester United. Maguireless, we hope. But Wickleban these days, anything is possible.
That dog is part of the package now.
Froden has won his second Caspian Caviar Gold Cup.
About 2 hours ago.
Very impressive as well.
It's literally just been written down in front of me. The 6-year-old, trained by Paul Nicholls, was steered to victory by Bryony Frost.
Front running display, very impressive. Yeah.
Bryony's, she's just an impressive rider, and she gets some tune out of these horses. That horse jumped like his life depended on it today, and she's developed into a really, really good rider.
All right, so the full-time whistle has gone at Wembley. So much time wasted, but they got there in the end. Andrew Cheal was watching Spurs against Burnley.
Tottenham 1, Burnley 0. It took Spurs till the 90th minute for Christian Eriksen to win a game they thoroughly deserved. Eric Lamela was twice denied by excellent saves from Joe Hart, and Lucas Moura with a clever over-the-shoulder volley just wide. Son wasted the best opportunity late on. Meanwhile, Burnley had just one shot on target, Barnes' volley, blocked by Harry Kane, until Christian Eriksen finally broke the hearts of Burnley's fans and team. Spurs 1, Burnley 0.
Bloody Northerners coming down here, playing no football, wasting time, denying Spurs.
Got what they deserved, though.
Spurs third in the table. They're only 3 points behind Liverpool, though they have played a game more, and they're now 5 points clear of Chelsea and Arsenal. Both Chelsea and Arsenal playing tomorrow afternoon. So
39 points from 17, is that right? That's excellent going from Spurs, to be fair.
It is.
They're fairly wobbly.
13 wins, 4 defeats.
Yeah.
But there's already, at this stage, 10 points between 4th and, say, Everton and 7th. I know, Man U are sort of the outlier there. They're sort of in between the sort of the top 5 and the pack. But
Wolves are a point behind Man
United. The gap they've opened up already, not even halfway, is sort of pretty stark.
Next up to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace against Leicester. Mike Lawrence.
Crystal Palace 1, Leicester City 0. A much needed win to lift the mood around this part of South London. A poor first half being brought to life in style with Luka Milivojevic's stunning strike from outside the box, his 4th goal of the season. Leicester did their best to push for an equaliser, the home side surviving some nervy moments with debutant keeper Vicente Guita tapping Jamie Vardy's poked effort onto the crossbar late on. Palace 1, Leicester 0.
Yeah, an important win for Palace moves them on to 15 points. They are in 15th place in the Premier League table. Back-to-back defeats for Leicester, who had gone on a 6-match winning streak. They are now 9th in the Premier League table. Next up, Huddersfield against Newcastle. Joe Townsend.
Huddersfield 0, Newcastle 1. The home side dominated the first half and were upset. Newcastle captain Jamal Lascelles survived red card shouts for a wild challenge, and it cost them. Just after the break, Javier Manquillo and Ayotse Perez broke superbly down the right. Then Salomon Rondon swept home from close range. Huddersfield pushed and pushed, but in truth, it was Newcastle who went closest to scoring more. Perez wrongly seeing a goal ruled out for offside. It's 4 straight defeats for Huddersfield, and they're in the bottom 3. They've lost 1-0 to Newcastle, who are now 6 points clear of the drop zone.
Yeah, Huddersfield look doomed. They're still inside the relegation zone, 10 points from their 17 games. Newcastle back to winning ways, 16 points for them. They are up to 14th in the table. Next up, we're off to Vicarage Road. Watford against Cardiff, a thriller for Nigel Bidmead.
Watford 3, Cardiff 2. Credit to Cardiff, who showed great spirit in making a game of this. After 68 minutes, they were 3-0 down to 3 beautifully taken goals by Deulofeu, Holebas and Keena. It should have been game over, but with 10 minutes to go, Junior Hoylett pulled one back with a curler for the visitors, and 2 minutes later, substitute Bobby Reid scrambled another. Watford were always the better side, but you can't take liberties against anyone in the Premier League. Watford 3, Cardiff 2.
And finally, we're off to Molineux, where Wolves, for the first time in a hell of a long time, have won 3 in a row in the top flight. They beat Bournemouth today, and watching this was Alex Winter.
It's finished Wolves 2, Bournemouth 0. Wolves with a 3rd straight top flight win for the first time since 1980. Raul Jimenez gave them the lead in just the 12th minute, tapping home Diego Yota's deflected shot before the points were made safe in stoppage time when played through was Helder Costa, who tapped the ball through to Ivan Cavaliero, who slid the ball past Asmir Begovic. Bournemouth tried to press in the second half. Junior Stanislas curled a free kick onto the bar, and late on, Callum Wilson's turn and shot was well blocked. But it's now a 6th defeat in 7 league games for Eddie Howe's increasingly sour cherries. It's finished Bulls 2, Bournemouth 0.
Matt Doherty is a fantasy football hero. I've had him since day one. Unbelievable.
Just the assists and all that.
Assists, goals, clean sheets. He's got it all. Bonus points, you name it. In fact, I've just had a quick look. He's the 3rd highest scoring defender in Fantasy Premier League.
Wow.
Behind Marcus Alonso and Andy Robertson.
Robertson as well. What a smashing player he is.
Oh, was he? He was right down in front of you, was he, on Wednesday night?
No, it was the other side. Like, he was.
He was at the game, by the way.
Were you?
Yeah, he just hasn't mentioned it much.
Yeah, it's he's a really, really good footballer, it has to be said. Very quick.
Andy Robertson?
Yeah.
Deceptively quick, is he? You wouldn't really notice it on TV when he's skinning winger after winger.
Yeah,
anything else? Like Virgil van Dijk, did he look impressive?
He's a beast.
Good defensively.
And they bloody well love Alisson.
Oh, do they?
They love Alisson.
Why was that?
They love him anyway. Although I was having this debate with David Jennings, who's a goalkeeper, works the Racing Post, and he was saying what Alisson did was...
You say he's a goalkeeper?
He's a goalkeeper for his GA club.
Okay.
But he works the Racing Post.
He's not quite in the goalkeepers union as such.
No, he was in the Mead panel before. He's a good goalkeeper.
Okay,
but he was like Alisson's technique. I was making the point that it was bad shooting by the Napoli player. He should have scored, but he was like, no, you have to actually appreciate how big Alisson made him, and his... basically how he stretched himself made it a lot more difficult for the player mentally to actually put it past him. I just thought it was a particularly bad finish. But how much is that goal worth to Liverpool?
A lot of money, Johnny.
It's probably actually statistically available, that information.
It is.
32.
Many millions.
He's a bloody joy to watch, though, when he has the ball at his feet. Like, you're just like, he did this dink to the left back, and you're just like a playmaker would have been proud of that pass. He's the Stephen Cluxton of the Rory Beggan of the Premier League.
A great way to finish the show this afternoon.
We'll hear more about Liverpool next week and future weeks.
Unless he goes to another game between now and then.
That's the problem. Is you haven't been to enough football since the League of Ireland's finished. So this is your one game that he's going to have to
This is his reference point for the rest for the next few months.
Grim. I think my next football game is Coventry and Plymouth. In January, going to my mate's a Coventry fan. We go to a game once or twice a season with him, and his brother lives in Plymouth, so we're like, let's go to an away game. I think Plymouth is like south coast.
Sounds about right.
So that'll be the next protocol. But I think I might be presenting for you in your stead.
Well, sometimes you try and sell forward, but I was trying to keep that quiet just so that maybe people would expect the high standard of this week next Saturday.
I tell you what, when I was a kid, like I used to actually like pretend that I was like going around the grounds like and record it on the old whatever the tape recorder in those days. It will be.
You've rehearsed. You've spent your lifetime practicing for this moment.
To go to Andrew Shield in the real hope that there's been some time wasting.
Nigel Bidmead, you need to get the rest of them.
And Guy Swindles. Names don't come better than that.
Well, that to come next Saturday, but we're not done for today. The two lads are leaving us. We'll talk to you
Talk
soon.
Soonish.
But we're here till
Enjoy
8
the
o'clock
rugby
tonight because we've got a lot of rugby coming up. We've got Andy Dunn at the Aviva Stadium for Leinster Bath, and we're also in France. Jeremy Davidson is alongside Conor Morris for full commentary of Cast against Munster. That is coming up next.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Listen back to your favourite News Talk shows at newstalk.com and on the News Talk app.
This Christmas at Carphone Warehouse, we're putting our customers first with tasty bill pay deals. Like the Samsung S9 for just $99.99 with free Google Home Mini on a €40 a month plan when you switch to Vodafone, Ireland's #1 network. But only with Carphone Warehouse.